Snowboard Kids Plus was released in Japan for the PlayStation in 1999, and this is an upgraded port of a version of the game that was originally released on the Nintendo 64 sometime previously, that gives players access to additional characters, features and tracks that wasn't in the original game, but also allows for players or fans of the game or series to play the game on the PlayStation console. So for those that didn't have access to a Nintendo 64, now they had the ability to play the game on another console instead. So the game consists of its own individual story with multiple different characters that you play as, and they all have their own story arcs, and you have to complete objectives by winning races, competing in various tournaments or events, utilising special weapons and abilities to attack players or defend against enemy attacks, all with the aim of winning and trying to get the highest scores or quickest times possible to unlock everything that's involved in the game. The one thing that's apparent straight away is the visual style, as it focuses more on cartoon style aesthetics that would be familiar with the N64 version, and is definitely a lot more simplistic compared to other snowboarding games of its type, as it's aimed at a much more younger audience of players. Now the game is simple to pick up and play. It's not overly complicated, even though it is in the Japanese language, but it won't really take you long to figure out what to do. The game does give you prompts of how to do specific movesets, which are easy to execute and pull off, and isn't overly difficult in many ways. However, the pacing of the game can seem a bit slow, but you can upgrade your attributes to allow you to go a wee bit faster, but it still wouldn't have the same level of speed or velocity that you would see in other games if you compare it to the likes of Cool Borders, MTV Sports, Snowboarding or other games like it. It is a very, very different approach to snowboarding games. Like I said, it's aimed at a younger audience, but at the same time it's focused on more arcade aesthetics and gameplay more than anything else. But it also uses elements similarly seen to kart racing games if you're familiar with Mario Kart and games like it. It has many of those gameplay mechanics, but just in a different format, with snowboarding instead of vehicles. So as you go through the campaign, you will pick one of the characters, and then your goal is obviously just to keep winning races, to win points, and just to evolve the story over time, as again each story contributes to each character's progression. So there's a lot of replayability in the game to allow you to unlock everything that's available within. I haven't spent time playing it. Yes, it's very simplistic in what it's trying to do. It isn't overly complicated. It is actually a fun little game to play, and it's very quirky in its visual style. If you like these style of visuals, more simplistic cartoony aesthetics, then this will appeal to you, and even more seasoned players might enjoy this as well. Now, in saying that, it won't be for everybody, that's the one thing to make note of, but it will appeal to a select few of players. Or if you're a fan of snowboarding games, this is another one to try out. Or even if you've played the original game that was on the Nintendo 64, you can play this other version as well to see what you think for yourself. These experiences are what you make of them at the end of the day, and the PlayStation really does have something for everybody. Like when we look at the plethora of games that are available, there's so many titles out there that combine so many gameplay mechanics and styles that you would have seen in other popular games, and they all try to incorporate those ideas into their own concept, and many of them do turn out to play quite well. Not all of them end up being executed that way, but there are quite a few that do end up being a lot better than you would think. And this here, for my own opinion, I think is one of those titles. Yes, it is very simple compared to other games, but it is what it is. It's not supposed to break new grounds. It's not meant to be anything that it's not supposed to be. It just keeps things simple, and it just is relatable to that of the original game. So for fans, you'll fit right in here. Fun little experience that is worth trying out in all respects. But I would love to know your thoughts of this game if you have played it yourself, and what do you think of it overall. Are you a fan of this genre or this type of arcade style of snowboarding game, or games like it? So be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you would like to see more content around other types of snowboarding games also released on the PlayStation, then you can check out the playlist on screen to see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.